now is you started thinking about how the experience should be and how you want to feel throughout. And you said these kind of all are overall, right? So what I'd like you to start thinking about now is how we do that, right? So there are steps in an account opening process. I have a list here of things like confirmation, facts, financial goals. So I also have a list of images, which are ways that these different things could happen, right?
Okay.
So the things that speak to you, the steps in the process that are important and that you want to use to help build this ideal experience, go ahead and put on your canvas where they go. And those that don't, same deal. You don't have to use anything you don't want to.
How would you describe these again? What are they supposed to be?
So that's kind of the how, right? How is the process going to work?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, scratch. I don't need an appointment. It's a bank. I can walk right in, right?
It's up to you. Do you want to make an appointment?
I don't want to.
Don't want to make an appointment. Okay.
Really?
And if none of those are things you want, you most certainly don't have to use them. That is up to you.
Okay.
All set?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about some of these then.
Okay.
Let's start with the way that the experience needs to be. And I'm going to kind of stand up here and write down what you talked about. Why don't you talk to me about that? So, talk to me about how the experience needs to be. So the blue words, let's start there.
How the experience needs to be.
Yeah, so you said interactive, trustworthy.
Yeah, that's kind of. I enjoy talking to a human being to start the process.
Okay.
This goes back to the whole relationship thing. So I would rather go in and talk to the officer at the bank than call somebody on the phone.
Sure.
And so, because on the phone I can't establish kind of trust that I can with somebody one-on-one. So the whole all these things, the blue ones, are all things you kind of expect the banker in the bank to be.
Okay.
Accurate, interactive, professional, honest, easy to use, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But obviously the banker's not easy to use. But as far as the banking experience, these are all things that these are almost like these must happen before you would have a good relationship with the bank.
Okay. So things like interactive, trustworthy, professional. Why are those important? Some of my questions might sound repetitive or silly, but I'm going to ask you to bear with me.
Well, to me personally, is important because I still feel like you do business with people,
Okay.
rather than a device.
Is that even if there is a device? Or
The devices are helpful tools,
okay,
but they don't replace the people.
got it.
The technology enhances our ability to get communication and share communication, but I don't think they replace the one-on-one.
Okay, got it. So talk to me a little bit about some of the how that you have here, the images and with the gray sort of text.
Well, okay, so, obviously, you're talking your money, so you need to have statements that are accurate and timely. We already talked about how my interest in having a personal relationship with a banker,
Sure.
Which makes him my single point of contact, pretty much. Back to the problem I had with my credit card.
Right, your
the reminders, alerts, and notifications, might have saved me a couple months of having $600 somewhere that it didn't need to be.
Sure.
I think the whole world is moving to paperless, and the less paper I can have in my office, the better. So,
Okay, got it. So,
if there were an opportunity here, we didn't really have any conversation about. I put this on here, but we didn't really have much conversation that I can recall about personal finances and investments. It was a pretty mechanical process that basically just opened up. There wasn't a lot of conversation about, what do you want to do with this? What do you want this to look like in a year?
okay. And should there have been?
I don't know, but it seems like it might. Once again, if we had this little tablet here with all the different choices, and we had that conversation, I could go, now I can see how this account might be better for me than that account, because especially if I can see it in front of me and visualize it, it would help me to maybe select. I don't know if there were a better account for me to be in, but I suspect I'm not, because I park too much money in my banking accounts, I probably should pay more attention to what they're paying interest-wise.
Okay, so the possibility of, these kind of seem to all go together. So when you talk about the personal finances and investments, you didn't really talk about that during your conversation with your banker, but maybe you could have, and maybe it would have been useful if you had had access to a tablet to see what some of that would have looked like.
Correct.
Gotcha, okay.
And as far as these images, I'm assuming this is online banking.
Okay.
I still go to the ATM and get my own cash. I don't know how everybody else does it, but I don't like, well, occasionally I do, I guess, go in and take a check and cash it. But for the most part, I still get $100 a week for my running around money.
Sure. Is there anything else? Is there anything else at the ATM besides get cash that you would like to be able to do?
Yeah, that's a great question, because all I do is take cash out, and in fact, I know it's probably safe as could be, but I don't even allow myself to deposit checks through the ATM.
Okay.
I only do that with a human being. back to my point before about getting short of $400 by a human being, but at least I can stay there and go, dude, add that up again, and that's $1,600, not $1,200.
Sure.
So I don't really want to be able to put checks in the ATM. I want to be able to give checks to a human being so that I know a human being took my money and we agreed how much money is going to the bank. I don't think. You can't pull up your personal banking page on the ATM, can you?
I don't know. Should you be able to?
That would be kind of an interesting concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that help you do?
Well, all the ATM shows you is what your balance is.
Okay.
It doesn't show you what checks are pending, about to be paid, that kind of stuff, Yeah, I think it'd be, I know I can pull up on my phone, but I find phones are a little too small to read important financial data on.
Sure.
So at least the ATM is like a large tablet. So, I think the ATM having the ability to access your online banking page would be a plus.
Okay. Anything else the ATM should be able to do?
No.
No? Okay, so that's it for the ATM. All right, what else do you have on here? How else could we help create this ideal experience for you? You said, okay, let's go back to this. You said statements, single point of contact. So things like statements, how would you want to receive those in your ideal world?
Well, I think online's the answer to that. I don't think we get an email from Huntington anymore, hopefully. I think I have one account. I still need to get a paperless. But yeah, I think online banking's awesome, and so if we can get rid of all paper, I'd be happy with it.
Okay, got it. So online, is that, do you get those via email, or would you want to get those via email? Would you want them some other way? How would you like to see statements delivered to you?
I would want the statement delivered via email, and I would like to get a text saying your online statement is available in your email account now.
Okay. So when it's available in your email, a text.
You get a text prompt to say that your online that your statement is available.
Okay, got it. And what does that help you with? Like what?
It just allows me to go home and pull up my online banking, make sure everything's kosher.
Okay, gotcha.
It encourages me to interact with the site.
Okay, and is that valuable? Interacting with the site? For you?
As much as I need to, yeah.
Okay.
It's just, I just want to feel confident that my money is where it needs to be, and that the numbers are accurate. But it would just be a handy thing to have a text prompt. That's all.
Okay, got it. Got it. All right, what else do we have here? You've got several other images. So, what are your thoughts on what's here?
Well, I think I'm sure. I don't even know. Is this Huntington even have a live chat option? I don't even know. Do you?
So they do in some places. But how would you like to see that work in an ideal world?
Well, so if I'm online, I'm doing online banking, and I see something in there I don't understand, I'd like to be able to access a human being who's on the live chat line and go, hey, can you help me out with this? This number doesn't look right on my statement here.
Okay.
Or for that matter, when I have a little credit card problem, instead of calling and having another conversation with somebody, I probably would go right to the live chat thing and go, you forgot to put my money back in my account like you said you were 2 months ago.
So how would you like to access that person if you had access to live chat? How do you want to do that?
Just online on the screen.
Okay. So is that in the app? Is that in the site? Is it both?
Both.
Gotcha. Okay. What else?
Well, I think we've covered most. This is your little personal relationship with your banker.
Okay.
This is the helpful Susie at the customer service desk.
Sure.
And we just talked about the live chat, so I think we've, and, I do pull up my banking information on my phone, and I've actually gotten away from that because of the insecurity of that in public.
Got it. Okay.
I've read too many stories about how somebody can hack your phone and get all your...
Okay.
So I pretty much don't do a lot of online banking on my phone because, in a public place in particular, because I think it's not secure.
Okay. Is there a way that, I guess, let me back that up. If it were secure, would you want to use your phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but I'm not sure that's... I think bad guys are usually a step ahead of the good guys on that stuff, so...
That does seem true. So, let's think about that for a second then.
So if there were a very secure virtual private network but my understanding is that you can be standing 6 feet away from me, and if I go to my online banking and you've got the right technology, you can hack my username and password and have access to my money. So until I feel very confident that nobody sitting in the next room at the Hyatt can get my number, I'm probably not going to do a lot of online banking until I feel very, very confident in that.
Okay. And so, when you think about that, you want to use your phone, but it's not terribly secure. There's just too many ways that somebody could possibly get access to your information and so your money. From your perspective, what would make you feel more confident? What would make you feel more secure? Like, what could Huntington do to make you think, you know what, Bob, this actually is a secure process and you can do this from wherever you want?
Probably two-factor authentication.
Okay, got it. And how does that help?
Well, at least the bad guy has to have your phone at that point.
Okay. Got it. And so if there were two...
So a VPN, a virtual private network,
yep,
with two-factor authentication to access it.
And so also, okay, so you said VPN. So for your mobile device?
Yeah. To access your online banking, have a VPN that's two-factor authentication. I think I'm saying that right.
Okay. Gotcha. And so when you think about two-factor authentication, like what would you want to happen? Like,
you get a text on your phone with a 6-digit number.
Okay, got it. So you get a text on your phone,
right,
and that's got a 6-digit code.
Right. I don't know if 6 is the magic number, but that's what
sure.
They start out, they usually were 4 when they first started doing, now they went to 6. So I assume that's harder for somebody to fudge that up.
Sure. So you've got this 6-digit code. Does that happen every time you log into your online banking?
No.
No. Okay. So how often should that happen?
Does it?
I guess that's
no, it doesn't. Should it? Maybe.
Should it? Okay. So every time you log in, 6-digit code, 4-digit code, some number of digits code to help authenticate.
Yeah, two-factor authentication, yeah.
Okay. Got it. Any other way that might help you feel more secure about online banking?
Not that I know.
Not that you know. Okay. I want to run something by you. So when you think about the security of using online banking, what are your thoughts on biometrics?
Oh.
Thumbprint, retina scan, is that something that's...
I know that's where the world's going.
Yeah, but is that valuable for you?
That might be even better.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I wasn't even thinking about that.
No.
That would make sense. Now you see enough movies about people who put the fake eyes in and do the retinal scan and override that. But there's always a way to beat something. So, I can see thumbprint or retinal scan being an advantage.
Okay.
A competitive advantage against your competitors, which is what they're trying to do.
Sure. And if you had access to something like thumbprint authentication or a retina scan, what does that do for you?
Just it makes you feel like another layer of security.
Okay. And if you did have access to that, is on your phone enough? Or are there other places when you think about account opening that fits too?
Well, now we're having a conversation, yeah, I guess when you sit down and open up your account, they should, well, I didn't think about this. Would it be a good thing is when you're setting up your account, they did your thumbprint and or retinal scan?
Yeah, should they?
But if fake you went into the bank and had an ID that had all your information on it, and then they sat down and gave their retinal scan or their thumbprint, then they'd be the ones having access to your account, not you.
Okay, got it.
But maybe I'm just thinking, there's ways for it to go bad.
Hey, that's all right. And so the answer can be no way. I just kind of wanted to run it by you since you were talking about security and two-factor authentication. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that. If the answer is don't ever do that, that's cool.
Well, like I said, because I have concerns about doing online banking in public, I think that would be an advantage.
Okay, so an advantage for doing online banking in public, but maybe not for account opening.
If you're going to do it, I guess you do it at account opening.
Do it at account opening,
Yeah.
okay. And where in the process should that happen? Like,
when you're sitting down with the banker,
Okay.
having the conversation, just open the account.
so at the beginning of the process? Is that in the middle of the process? Is that at the end?
It would be part of the setup process, one way or the other.
Okay. Okay, got it. So it could happen as part of the setup process after you sign forms. Okay. So maybe it can, but there's also some potential concern about somebody being able to get your information and use their retina or their
That's probably slim none, so that,
Sure. But if it's something you're worried about, I'm worried about it. All right.
We're talking about it as a way to add additional security. I guess I'm just trying to be a devil's advocate in there. And
That's fine.
Would that really work?
This is your show, so I want to hear what you have to say. Okay. Okay. Anything else that you can think of, either that is on your canvas or that you're still sort of thinking through, that could help create this ideal experience, could help you feel the way that you have listed you want to feel on your canvas?
Nope. I'm
Nope.
good.
Okay. Got it. So we're making really good time. We've only been here about an hour and a half.
We talked about a lot.
We did talk about a lot, yeah. It's nice having a one-on-one conversation, So the last thing I'd like to do before we leave is I'm going to give you these blue dots. And so we talked about a lot of things, and what I'd like you to do is use these dots and basically vote on the most important aspects of the experience. So if I had to go back to my team and say, here's the 3 things we should really concentrate on,
Okay.
what are those?
Okay.
And I should let you know as well, if you want to put them all on one because it's super important. If you want to spread them out,
That's fine.
it's however you want to do it.
Okay, so one on trustworthy and professional,
Okay.
one on, which is pretty related to honest and credible. I'm going to put that as on both of those.
Okay.
And I guess easy to use is what I'm going with the next one, but basically from a user standpoint, that it's a relatively simple site to navigate.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So ease of use for the site.
And part of that could be having the online chat as a backup
Okay.
option.
Gotcha.
But, I want to be able to go in there, do what I need to do, and if I have a question, be able to shoot it by somebody.
Okay. And is that in the branch online with chat with all of them?
Yes.
All of them. Okay, so we're right around 6:15, and I don't want to keep you any longer than I need to. But is there anything else we haven't already talked about that you kind of just want to throw at me around account opening or just banking in general too? And if not, that's an okay answer.
This seems really minute, but I'm sure there's an easy way to do this, but I think it'd be helpful to have easy access to all their account options with their current rate of interest that they're paying. Not that I expect to make much money off my interest in the bank account, but still, if I'm going to park too much money in my bank, I'd like to at least know that I'm in the right account. Because unless you proactively call a bank or go into a bank and ask the right questions, you don't know if you're getting the best thing for you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
There may be if we're going to talk about what ifs. So let's say, since I do, let's say I've got a savings account. Well, I don't have a savings. I have a money market account and a checking account.
Okay.
Personally, well, I've got more than that, but anyhow.
Sure.
Our main accounts for our home are money market and a checking account. Obviously, the money market account makes more money, makes more higher interest. The bank's goal is to make as much money for the bank. Bob's goal is to make as much money for him.
Sure.
So it would be nice if the bank's system kind of tracked how much money was in each account and gave me a little prompt and said, You could probably use to keep a smaller balance on your checking account because you're only making 0.38% on that or 0.15% on that, whereas you're making 0.6 on your money market. So it'd be nice if the bank periodically, once a quarter, let's say, it could be real time all the time, but would prompt the customer that you're not helping yourself out by leaving an extra $10,000 in your checking account every day. You might want to park that in the money market account. Or, hey, by the way, we've got a 1-year CD you might want to consider because you've always had an extra $40,000 in your account for the last 2 years. Would it be better if you put $20,000 into a 1-year CD? If periodically, if the bank contacted me with alternative investment options.
Sure. So how should they contact you about that?
They can email me and text me as a prompt.
Okay. Email and text as a prompt. Got it. Okay.
I think that's an opportunity in all of my, I've told you just about every bank I've belonged to, we've done business with, but it always feels like a kind of a push-pull thing when you're sitting down with the banker and going, okay, what are your options? How much interest do they pay? And then they lay out the little scheme, and you always kind of wonder, I probably could have done this online and investigated this first, but I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go to do that, and that's why I sit down with the human, hoping they're going to guide me to the right place. But until you have the trust factor with the person you're talking to, you don't know if they're just selling you what the bank wants you to buy, or if there was another door number 4 that you didn't even hear about that would be a better interest rate and done more for your money. Like I said, the bank would rather you park all your money into an account that makes virtually no interest, and then they turn around and lend it out at a higher interest rate. So I'm just saying that if it would be nice to have some sort of a prompt from the bank giving suggestions on how to allocate your money in the accounts. Okay.
And they should email that to you and then text you to tell you to check the email.
Check your email for the newest recommendation on your bank balances or whatever.
So they should be sending you these recommendations via email and then reminding you via text.
Right.
Okay. Any other way you would want to get recommendations from the bank?
No. That's just enough right there.
Okay. Got it.
I don't want somebody calling me to ask me about it. I'm not going to watch TV commercials about it.
Sure.
Okay. Because I DVR everything and I never watch commercials.
That's the way to do it.
Just FYI, it's the declining value of TV commercials because there are a lot of people like me that time shift their TV watching. And so it drives my wife crazy, but I virtually watch nothing with commercials. So it's very rare that I sit down and watch something that's live today. I DVR it and then I go back and fast forward through all the commercials. And so at least a couple times a month she'll say, "Have you seen this commercial?" And my answer is always, "No, honey, I don't watch commercials." I've never seen that commercial and I never will.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is enough. You don't want the commercials every time or ever if they're real commercials.
And I really don't want somebody calling me saying, "Hey, I've got a new option for you." No. You let me read it at my leisure. You send me a text saying you sent me an email and I'll check it out. But if you call me, I'm going to say, "I'm sorry, I don't have time."
Sure. Okay. Got it. So more opportunity via email so that you can do it on your time.
Right.
Okay. Got it. Anything else?
No, I think I've told you more about my relationship with banks than I've ever shared with anybody in my life.
Well, cool. That's why I'm here, to hear about your banking.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I guess if nothing else, that's really all I have for tonight, so I can get you out of here like 20 after 6.
Super.
So we didn't do too bad. About an hour and a half?
I guess you don't really need this little thing because all it says is I bank at Huntington. See attachment.
Okay. So I'm going to keep this if you don't mind.
Well, sure. I have no use for it.
Awesome. So I will walk you out. We'll get you stopped at the front desk and set up with your compensation.